Welcome to a new episode of the 90s Metal Gamer, where we stay hydrated and play video games. The Splinter Cell series is yet another series that I have sentimental attachment to. So, I guess you can go ahead and say I'm going to give this a very good review, because of my sentimental attachment to it. And yes, I have a bias. Believe me when I say that I really do try my best to not have a biased opinion about a game, but I fail every single time. But you have to give me some credit about this. I'm at least being honest with you. Let me ask you this, what comes to mind whenever I say stealth-based gaming? Chances are you're probably thinking of the Metal Gear series. And I don't blame you for that. Metal Gear's been around for quite some time, since the late 80s, and that's completely fine. Arguably, the biggest rival to the Metal Gear series would be the Splinter Cell series, but Metal Gear has an advantage because it's been around for quite a long time in comparison to Splinter Cell. But to give the advantage to Splinter Cell here, the stories are much easier to follow, and if you're understanding the Metal Gear series stories, you're wrong. Nobody understands it. I cannot remember which series I played first, whether it is Metal Gear or Splinter Cell, but I know for a fact I was introduced to the Splinter Cell series with the very first game, which released November 17th, 2002. What I do remember is reading the official Xbox magazine review over Splinter Cell, and at the time it was its highest rated game with a 9.6 out of 10. It beat Halo, which had a 9.5. Don't ask me how I remember this stuff. I just do. Alright, let's get back on track before I start to ramble on any further. This video is a casual review of Splinter Cell Conviction. Considering that this is a casual review, I must iterate that I did not complete this game to 100%, and I played it on the easiest difficulty. I play my games like this because this is how I like to enjoy my games, casually. I like to think of myself as the world's okayest gamer. Over the course of this review, we're going to go over the story, the gameplay, the presentation, and the music. And then we'll wrap it all up with a water score. Cue the channel intro.
And then the Lord said,
I want to see your tiny head.
Before I get into this video, I want to talk a little bit about the developmental process of Splinter Cell Conviction. Don't worry, this won't take long because I couldn't find a whole lot of information about it. All of the information I got came from Splinter Cell Conviction's fandom page. Splinter Cell Conviction is the 5th installment of the Splinter Cell franchise. And if you're a gamer, chances are you probably know its stealthy origins. Well, Splinter Cell Conviction decided to go a different route. But perhaps the biggest difference between Conviction and its predecessors was the lack of focus on the stealth mechanic. Now, Conviction does have a somewhat emphasis on stealth, but it's not the core concept of the game. In order to better facilitate this change of direction with Conviction, a lot of the previous gameplay mechanics were omitted. Things such as the multi-vision goggles, moving and hiding enemy bodies, throwing objects, the split jump, lockpicking, hacking, whistling, crawling through the air ducts, knocking out grabbed enemies, non-lethal weapons, and non-lethal attacks, unless the mission requires it to. According to the fandom page where I'm getting all my information from, the first thing they thought about when this game was in production was rejuvenating the gameplay altogether, while still remaining tied to its OG roots. All previous Splinter Cell games relied heavily on the lights in order to make it a stealthy game. Well, since Conviction was still remaining somewhat focused on the stealth concept, it didn't want to be the core concept, so they started relying on more of the environments. Have a look at this cutscene right here. This is what I mean by relying on its environments. Sam Fisher is using his surroundings to interrogate this guy. And the last thing I want to talk about is the engine that this game uses. It is called the Lead Engine, which is a heavily modified version of the Unreal Engine 2.5. And that's all I have about the engine, really. Now that that is out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the story. As many of you should know by now, if not, well, here you go. I suck at storytelling, so I'm going to let the game tell the story for me. Enjoy.
Just do what you have to do.
I always do, Sam. I always do.
The thing you have to understand is this. The Sam Fisher you knew is dead. America killed him, asked him to make one sacrifice too many, cross one line too far. A drunk driver killed him, some anonymous asshole who ran down his daughter and vanished. She was the one thing in his life that humanized him. And his agency killed him. It set him up, turned him loose, and told him to pull the trigger on his best friend in a dirty New York City basement. Irving Lambert died by Sam's hand that day. And so did Sam. So he left. Left Third Echelon, left the life he knew, left America and Mom and apple pie, left it all behind. He hopped off the grid and went walkabout, looking for a reason to go on living. Eventually he found it. He caught a whisper in the wind that maybe his daughter's death hadn't been an accident. He heard a name. And he found somewhere to go looking. A city called Valletta. It's in Malta.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes?
Phone call for you. Please accept these compliments of your call.
Sam,
Who is this? How'd you find me?
give me a little credit, Sam. Don't tell me you don't recognize my voice even after all this time.
Grim, what do you want?
To save your life. We can go from there. A team of armed men just entered the marketplace looking for you. They're closing in on your position. Unless you do exactly what I say, this will be a very short conversation.
I'm not doing a damn thing until you tell me how you found me.
We're Third Echelon. We've got an eye on everyone. Look up. You'll see it.
I see it.
Then I can take it back up to safe altitude, and you can get moving.
You still haven't told me how you found me.
Move. You've got multiple hostiles inbound on your position, and from where you're at, you're a sitting duck. Now get to that group of stalls in the market. There's a lot of cover for you there.
It's like the old days, huh, Grim?
Just like the old days, Sam. Are you carrying?
Yeah, but I'd rather not risk a firefight when there are civilians around.
That's very noble of you. But right now, what matters to me is getting you out of there in one piece. So get to that group of booths right now, or I can't help you, Sam.
Everybody leave! Get the fuck out of here! I said get the fuck out! Fast!
The person you saw in the introduction, the one giving the story, is Sam's longtime friend. And he mentioned something about Sam's daughter dying in a horrific car crash. Well, it turns out that she's actually alive. And as you play through the game, this information is later revealed to Sam, and it is used as leverage for Sam to complete his mission. Since this game was released in 2010, 14 years ago, I have no problem spoiling this game. But in any case, spoiler alert, I'm going to fast forward to the end scene of this game so you can see exactly what is going on.
It was for the greater good, Sam. And I would do it again in a heartbeat, for the same reasons.
Guess I never did know you.
No, you didn't. And you still don't.
I was wondering when you were gonna get here. Nice work, Anna. I see you got some payback in for the stun he pulled at the airfield.
Well, he put up a little bit of a fight.
Of course he did. And now he's here, the famous Sam Fisher, just in time to be useful. So how does it feel, Sam? Knowing you're gonna go down in history as the man who assassinated President Caldwell.
Fuck you, Reed.
Of course, we'll be just a little too late to rescue her. And you'll be shot multiple times trying to escape. It's classic, but it's clean.
You don't honestly believe that this is going to work. The surveillance cameras footage is going to show.
Your cameras, we own them. Your security measures, we made sure the Pulse fried them. We're third echelon, Madam President. We own every bit of information that goes through this town. And if I want to, I can make it look like you were assassinated by 2 circus clowns and a golden retriever. So shut up, and you might live a few seconds longer.
That's not third echelon.
It's not Lambert's third echelon. Last time I checked, he was dead. And guess what? Third echelon nearly died with him.
Tom.
You see, the president decided the agency wasn't justifying its funding anymore. She was gonna shut us down, leave America vulnerable to the sort of attacks you spent so many years stopping, Sam.
Madam President, are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Son of a...
That was a close
You've got
call.
maybe 2 minutes before the army takes back the White House. Make them useful. How did Megiddo get to you?
You don't want to know about Megiddo, you want to know about your daughter.
You don't get to talk about my daughter.
You still don't get it, do you? Sarah didn't matter. Threatening her was just a way to get to you. And leveraging you was a way to get to third echelon. And third echelon, that was a way to get what they wanted out of the White House.
You're the mole. You're the one Lambert was worried about.
Very good, Sam. You finally see.
You son of a... You cost me 3 years of my life. 3 years when I thought my daughter was dead.
Move! Move! Drop your weapon on the floor now!
Captain, thank you for rescuing me. Now, I don't see anyone else here but us, and I'm sure you don't either.
Oh, ma'am. Let's get you out of here.
Thank you.
Oval Office is secure. We have the President. POTUS is safe and secure.
There was actually 2 stories that were tied in together in this game, one of which involved Sam trying to sniff out a mole in third echelon, and the other one was Sam's daughter. I didn't really pay too much to the mole mission as I did to Sam's daughter. I was more invested in that. And in the end, Sam shot the mole. Happy ending. Grimm used Sam's daughter as leverage in order to get Sam to complete this mission. Sam gets his daughter, and the mole is now dead. That about sums it up for the story of this game. We're gonna go ahead and get into the gameplay. Normally I talk about the controllers last, but in this case, this is going to be the first thing that I address because I had a lot of difficulty learning the controls, and let me explain why. I'm not sure if I'm using the correct terminology here, so bear with me. The controllers were not fully customizable, they were semi-customizable, and it's because of this that I had a hard time learning the controls. The inverted direction is what I'm used to, and in some cases, I did not have an inverted direction, and that completely threw me off. Okay, let me try again to see if I can clarify a little further. When I play my games, I like having an inverted left and right, but a normal up and down. Now, as you saw in my settings screen, I could turn off the inversion of up and down, or turn it on, whatever the case may be, but I had no control over the left and right inversion, and yeah, that was not doing it for me. I want to say I maybe got to around halfway through the game before I finally got used to the controls. I don't know, maybe I just have stupid hands. I mentioned in the introduction that you no longer have multi-vision goggles. Instead, you have sonar goggles, and I think they're pretty cool. But the downfall of that, since they're sonar, they pick up on the sound of your footsteps and it distorts your vision. And they can also see lasers too. I thought that was pretty cool. Another great thing that I liked about this is the on-screen text that gives you hint and clues on what you should do next. Now, I'm not sure if this is because I played on the easiest difficulty or it's actually a mainstay. Either way, it was a nice tool to have in case you get stuck somewhere. What I'm about to say is completely subjective and you may have a different opinion. The best feature of this game overall is the destructive environments when interrogating somebody. I absolutely love it. It gave me a sense of realism throughout the game, and I think it increases the gameplay experience tenfold. Ubisoft did right with this one. And you can also see Sam's emotions through his body language, such as him clenching his fist. Obviously, he is angry. There was also a weapons upgrade mechanic here, but if I'm going to be quite honest here, I did not use it because I didn't know how to use it. And I think it was disabled because I was playing on the easiest difficulty. And I'm okay with that. One less thing to worry about. But it is a cool feature to have. Overall, the gameplay experience was pretty solid, with the exception of the semi-customizable controls. But that's more on me because I have a specific preference. Now that the gameplay is over with, let's go ahead and get into the presentation. For the presentation and the music segments of this video, I'm going to cut them just a little bit shorter than normal because I don't want this video to be longer than 25 minutes. And I'm already reaching the 18-minute mark, so they're going to be cut short. Anyway, the overall graphical theme of this game, the best way I could describe it is dark. As you can see right now, my screen is black. Well, monochrome actually. When you're in the shadows, your screen turns to monochrome, and that indicates that you are in stealth mode, I guess I could say. No one can see you. You're hidden. There you go. That's the word I'm looking for. Hidden. I'm sorry, words are hard. I mentioned this in the previous segment of this video, but I also like the on-screen text that tells you what to do. I'm not sure if this is graphic related, but it's there, and I like it. The scenes that I liked best throughout this game were the interrogation scenes and the pre-rendered cutscenes, both of which were done absolutely wonderfully. I guess I should mention that I played this game on the Xbox 360. Personally, I don't think that really matters, but I just thought I'd disclose it. Overall, I would have to say that the graphics were a nice sight for sore eyes. They were very, very beautiful. I would even go on to say that it could even hold up to today's games, and that says something about the Xbox 360. The downside is that there were a lot of screen tears here. I'm not sure if you were able to see them in this cutscene, but there were quite a few screen tears, but that has no effect on the overall score that I'm going to give this game. Coming up next, we're going to go over the music.
Somebody! Please! backup!
This doesn't make sense.
I can tell there was not a huge emphasis on the music here. In fact, it was very subtle, and I could even say mysterious even. It matches the theme of this game, if you ask me.
Negative. No sign of contact from this guy.
My location!
It's gotta be close.
Keep your head not well. I'll stay here and keep an eye out.
I'll stand watch here.
When you are detected by an enemy, the music changes from a mysterious feel to a more suspenseful feel. Kinda adds to the experience of the gameplay.
Why don't you tell him that for me?
If you'll hold for 1 second, I'll put Director Reed on the line and you can...
You really shouldn't talk to Grim like that.
Guards! Where the hell are my guards?
It's just you and me, Lucius. Let's talk. What's your connection with Reed?
If you ask nicely, I'd tell you.
Just as I already mentioned, there really wasn't a whole lot of emphasis on the music, and it feels right in this game. Normally I like having music in my games, but the music, or lack thereof rather, or lack of engaging music, kind of makes this just a little bit better. Overall, it was a great experience.
He wants to run the show.
Based on what I said in the introduction to this video, I'm pretty sure you can assume what score I'm going to give this game. And in case you forgot, I have a very strong sentimental attachment to the Splinter Cell series. And I can't help but have a bias. I absolutely love the Splinter Cell series. And even if I put my bias aside, you can't say that this isn't a good game. Unless this isn't your cup of tea. Then you probably won't like this game. Let's go over what we discussed in this video. For the story, I really didn't follow the mole side. For me, that just really wasn't that interesting. I was more interested in learning how Sam Fisher's daughter is still alive when she is supposed to be dead. For the gameplay, the controls were a little bit difficult for me to master because I have a preference on how I like my controls, and they did not offer it how I like my customization in this game. But that's just a me thing. Everything else was perfect. And it would be a far stretch for me to say that I mastered the controls, because in reality, I never did. And it's because I have a preference and the game did not offer that. For the presentation, even though the overall theme was dark, it fits this story well, or at least Sam Fisher's daughter's story. For the music, since I think there was no major emphasis on the music, it was subtle, it was suspenseful, and it was mysterious. All fit together perfectly right where it needed to be. All things considered, guys, I will give this game a water score of 5 out of 5 bottles of water. Thank you for watching my video all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it, and I really do mean that from the bottom of my heart. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. I love y'all, stay hydrated, and stay tuned for my next video.